fourth chapter is reproductive health. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about the personal well-being of one individual. We all know that every individual is unique and sexual being. A total view of human reproductive health is the basic to personal well-being as well as to interpersonal relationship. Every decision has its own consequences. Any wrong decision can lead to disastrous consequences, which in turn can ruin one's life. So we have to discuss about these disorders, this definition, how to control it, and sexual adjustment is the part of total personality adjustment. Self-esteem is the key to sexual maturity, and human reproductive health and sexuality involve great many components and interrelationships. We know that adolescents' reproductive and sexual health topics are to be taken care of to dispel the myths and misconception about this important aspect. With focus, we have to reduce the risky behavior theories which explain what influences people's sexual choice and behavior, providing accurate information about the risk associated with sexual activities, about contraceptions, birth control, methods of avoiding or deferring intercourse. Because of these properties or this changes we want, this chapter is being included. So we have to see what are the methods for birth control. So first method or the first category, broad category, is behavioral methods. Behavioral methods depends on good knowledge of menstrual cycle as well as adequate self-control. One should be self-controlled for using this method. First, under which first is interruptus. Coitus interruptus means interrupted sex. In this birth control method, the penis is withdrawn from the vagina just before ejaculation. This is highly risky. The main advantage is that this method does not require the use of any drug, no interference with normal body function, and plant pregnancy. And second is rhythm method or safe period method. In this method requires a good knowledge of female partner's menstrual cycle to be identified days on which sexual intercourse is possible without risk of pregnancy. Then avoiding vaginal intercourse, anal sex, oral sex, or sex without penetrating the vagina can be taken in consideration. Then it comes barrier methods, second heading. Barrier method. In this barrier methods of birth control, a barrier is placed between penis and the vagina during intercourse so that the sperm cannot meet the ovum for fertilization. So in the under this barrier method, first method is male condoms, usually male made of latex. These are made of latex that covers the erect penis during penetration for the vagina. Then it comes female condoms made of polyurethane or polyethylene. Loose sheath with two rings on either side can be inserted about 8 hours prior to sexual intercourse and can be kept in for about another 12 hours, and it can be used more than one time. This protects us from sexually transmitted diseases, STDs, including HIV and AIDS. Then other third is diaphragm. Diaphragm is a small saucer-shaped rubber sheath with a metal coil in its rim, which is fitted across the mouth of uterus or cervix. Then fifth is cervical cap. The cervical cap is a small dome shape. It is this dome shape. uh, it is uncomfortable to apply and is rarely used. It is rarely used nowadays. And vaginal sponge. Sponge is a small polyethylene round device which needs to be placed inside the vagina before sexual intercourse. It releases spermicides which make sperm inactive. Then other methods are hormonal methods. Methods are hormonal methods. Hormonal methods. Haruna method, drugs are used to either prevent ovulation or to prevent implantation. Both drugs can be used. Combined oral contraceptive contains two hormones similar to natural hormones in a woman's body, and estrogen and progesterone. Now it comes how the birth control pill works. So the main work or the prevention of ovulation is the work of birth control pills. In normal menstrual cycle, the pituitary gland secretes the hormone FSH and LH. To stimulate this, the ovary releases an egg, which is known as ovulation. Progesterone in pills make the cervical mucus hostile to sperm and the motility decreases, causes changes that makes the endometrium unreceptive. This increased level of progesterone by taking an pill uh, make the endometrium unreceptive to the fertilized ovum. Then these pills can be of other many types like oral contraceptive or injective. It can be oral contraceptive, other combined oral contraceptive pill work for both birth control pill. It contains mainly, or the its concept is mainly of two hormones, estrogen and progesterone. They have two functions. The main one is to prevent ovulation. The second function is to disrupt the normal growth of internal uterine lining so that the embryo cannot implant in it. These are some drugs and some other things and data given. Some implants and type emergency oral contraceptive, the tablets, creams, and form, and now IUCDs. IUCDs are other type. First, we saw behavioral methods or then we saw barrier method, then intrauterine contraceptive devices. Intrauterine contraceptive devices or IUDs are the contraceptive device which are placed inside the uterus. They are small, flexible plastic frame, has copper wire, or copper sleeves on it, inserted into a woman uterus through her vagina. These have two strings or threads which are tied to them. Strings hang through the opening of cervix into the vagina, and the provider can remove the IUD by pulling gently on the string with forceps. So the IUCDs can come in various shape and sizes. The first one is Lippes loop. Lippes loop, you can see the arrangement or the how it is placed inside the uterus. It is a thin plastic polyethylene wire bent in series of S shaped. It is S shaped. Then other is copper T. By its name, we can see copper T, T-shaped structure which stay inside the uterus with the long arm of T along the uterine cavity and shorter arm transversely across the upper part of endometrium. Then myelina, and then comes the surgical method. These all the methods which we learned above can be reversible, but through surgical method it is permanent method or less irreversible, or they cannot be easily reversible. So out of this, tubal ligation, both the female tubes are tied off and usually cut during tubal ligation to prevent the sperm from reaching the ovule. Here you can see. Then vasectomy, the two tubes which carry sperm from the testes to the penis are the vasa deferens, and we tie them and then cut them. Then is the functioning or the working of pregnancy. This is the process of fertilization, then zygote form, then four-cell embryo formation. When the process of in vitro fertilization is carried out, the ovum and the sperm is allowed to fertilize in laboratory dish, petri dish. The embryo is usually transferred into the mother uterus at the 4 to 8 cell stage. usually on the third day of fertilization. By the time a zygote reaches the uterus at about the sixth to ninth day after ovulation, it is 16 cell cluster of cells called morula. This is some infertility and its treatment. According to World Health Organization or WHO, incidence of infertility is about 10% worldwide. Another 10 to 12% of all other couples have only one child and wish to have more. For many people going through infertility treatment, the level of distress and tension can be very, very high. So in these cases, sperm has been aspired from testes directly. Some examples are intrauterine insemination, that is known as IUI. This method is used in men with moderately low sperm count, that means oligospermia. The semen is collected by masturbation, washed and centrifuged to increase sperm density, and then placed inside. Insemination with husband's semen, AIH. This is done in case of impenetrable cervical mucus. Insemination with donor semen, AID, is usually carried out in couples where the husband suffers from azoospermia, that means no sperm production. In vitro fertilization, IVF process it is the process by which egg cells are fertilized by sperms. Then zygote intrafallopian transfer, gamete intrafallopian transfer, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, prevention of male infertility, general facts about STDs, specific STDs and overview. We have to see this like human papilloma virus, HIV, AIDS, syphilis, some common infection by chlamydomonas or gonorrhea, or pubic lice and herpes virus, and some rare infection are granuloma, inguinal, cancroid. Other lesser talked about STDs include non-gonococcal urethritis, molluscum contagiosum. Some known symptoms of STDs in men are swelling or tenderness in genital area, blisters or sores or bumps around the mouth or genitals, fever, chills and ache with some unusual itching, burning sensation while urinating, white watery or yellow discharge. And in women have fever symptom, bleeding that is not part of their period, pelvic or vaginal pain, discharge from vagina, painful urination, unusual rash, sore or growth in genital area. Pelvic inflammatory disease, some disease which causes inflammation near pelvic region. So these are known as PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. Their symptoms are, if a woman has PID, she may have any of these symptoms like abdominal pain, tenderness, back pain, abnormal uterine bleeding, painful urination, and ectopic pregnancy overview. It is given infertility in human causes and consequences. So in males, oligospermia is the main cause of infertility, which is low sperm count. Anovulation is absence of ovulation, similar to oligospermia in females. Azoospermia is absence of sperm, whereas oligoovulation is deficient ovulation. Some other are also given. Then some common sexually transmitted disease are chlamydios, which is causative agent is Chlamydia trachomatis. Symptom is painful urination, intercourse, mucus discharge from penis, vagina. Effects on fetus is premature birth, blindness, or pneumonia. And this symptom is pelvic inflammation, or PID we can say, infertility, ectopic pregnancy. Gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria gonorrhea is the causative agent. It causes painful urination. It is seen in men. and the fetus can be stillbirth or blindness, and symptoms are pelvic inflammatory disease, rashes, and hepatitis B, AIDS, and some other diseases. These are some important note points. Like Indian population is identified as young population, whereas population of USA, England, Germany are identified as aging population. In India, Kerala has lowest birth rate and UP has highest birth rate. These are some basic information, and then it comes important terms which has to be remembered. They are amniocentesis, lactational amenorrhea, sterilization, artificial insemination, and some other. This is the mind map. This is the mind map. We can see reproductive health, its definition. According to WHO, reproductive health means a total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. Then amniocentesis, it shows negative application as well as positive application. Negative application includes increased female feticides, misuse to detect the sex of the child before birth, and female fetus is then aborted. This is the negative application of amniocentesis. Then positive application is it helps to detect any congenital disease or any metabolic disorder in fetus. Then STDs, we saw examples are hepatitis B, genital herpes, HIV, gonorrhea, syphilis, and definition, it is disease transmitted through sexual intercourse. MTPs are MTP is very important as to avoid unwanted pregnancies in case where continuation of pregnancy is harmful to the mother or fetus or baby. Then comes the problem faced in MTPs. They are performed illegally and cause misuse of amniocentesis. Then comes assisted reproductive technologies, that is ART. In short form, it is called. So ART, first ART is GIFT, that is zygote intrafallopian transfer. Second is intracytoplasmic sperm injection, intrauterine transfer. Third, gamete intrafallopian transfer. Fourth, and fifth is artificial insemination. So for the birth control, many methods are there, like surgical methods like vasectomy in males and tubectomy in females, natural methods like coitus interruptus, periodic abstinence, and lactational amenorrhea. Barrier methods are there, intrauterine devices can be used, and oral contraceptive or contraceptive pills can be used. Methods of birth control, then methods of ART is test tube baby program, which includes IVF, in vitro fertilization, embryo transfer, ZIFT zygote intrafallopian transfer, intrauterine transfer, and ART, gamete, GIFT or ICSI, and artificial insemination. Some methods for birth control are given. Then assisted reproductive that is also known as ART, which already told, IVF, ICSI, ZIFT, IUD, ZIFT, artificial insemination. So this was chapter number 4, reproductive health.